Hey guys, my name is Adrian. I'm a 3D artist from Germany and I recently moved to Switzerland. At work I mostly do hard surface modeling and texturing and more technical stuff. So for the long weekend I decided to jump back into some sculpting and try out some new workflows. I recently made it a habit to write down my goals for the day. By setting measurable goals, I don't waste so much time and I can get a better feeling for my general progress and how long each step actually takes. So with that out of the way and a good sip of coffee, I'm good to go and I can start gathering references. My goal is to make a stylized bust of my cat, Lancelot. In the past I've had problems with stylized fur and I wanted to try a different approach for these big tufts of fur you often see in stylized characters. So right now I'm gathering references from other stylized sculpts as well as cat anatomy and pictures of Nibelung cats. I later ended up picking a lot of pictures of Lancelot, which definitely won't help me much at understanding anatomy, but at least they were fun to look at while working. At lunch he seemed especially cuddly, as if he knew what I was planning to do. But in the end I guess he just chose me as a spot to sleep on. For the fur, I wanted to try using curves to create the shapes and to have an easier time modifying them later on. In retrospect, I could have created multiple variants of this tuft very easily and get more details and variation in the sculpt quickly. After a bit of tweaking and testing, I was happy with the result and went on to sculpting. When sculpting, at first I focus on the anatomy and add the eyes in early on as a reference point for the proportions. This is where I try to take my time and lay the foundations for the rest of the sculpt. I'm constantly looking at the reference and trying to build the correct bone and muscle structures. In this case, I already considered the stylized proportions with very big eyes to make the character a little cuter. This is something I can definitely improve on, since I often end up tweaking the proportions later on. I started adding the tufts and also changed my workspace, so I can always have an eye on the silhouette of the sculpt. The silhouette is very important for the design of a character or sculpt. It should be easy to read, and how sharp or soft the angles on the outlines are can have a big impact on the overall feel of the textured end result. When combining the fur with the rest of the sculpt, I actually ran into a lot of problems because of my workflow. Blender's remesh created some weird issues. In retrospect, I believe toggling on the fill caps option in the curves geometry tab would have fixed this problem. Afterwards, I started adding volume to the spots where the fur connects with the rest of the sculpt. And then I started defining the shapes of the fur. As I go up with poly count, I focus on smaller details around the eyes and the nose. Although, like I said before, I still tweak the big shapes here and there. This was a pretty loose Sunday project in any case, but watching your own recording really helps looking at the process more objectively and finding ways to improve. Since I wanted the big shapes to speak for themselves, I only added a fine layer of fur using a brush I got from Stylized Brush Set, which I recently bought on the Blender market. After that was done, I started Vertex painting. For this, I actually had to first update to the newest Blender version, which is great because I tend to just stick with what I know and work with old versions for way too long. So I started using Blender's new color attributes, which replaced the Vertex paint. For this, I also set up some simple lighting to see the end result while I was painting. I like the color attributes because they are easy to handle and you can quickly paint the roughness, for example, to make the nose more reflective than the rest. The painting process was a lot of fun, but looking at the full process, I probably took the least time to create the colors, materials and set up the whole render. When I was done with coloring, I went back to sculpting to work in some asymmetry and give the sculpt a bit more character. In the end, I quickly added some whiskers and did a little compositing inside Blender. Et voila, this is the final result. Let me know what you think and what you might want to see me work on in the next video.